as you say, women that look like you. Or so I looked it up, and what I found, it was interesting because I thought that we all breastfeed, but what I came to find out via Google is that Black women actually are the lowest percentage of women, mothers, that choose to breastfeed. Why do you think that is?
So there is such a very nuanced answer to that question. A lot of it is very deeply rooted in our history, especially here in America, going back, because we were born and destined to breastfeed our children, because just like cows breastfeed their babies, all mammals have the capability of breastfeeding. So when slavery came about, we had the slave women working as wet nurses for their masters, and foregoing the nutrition and health of their own babies to support the health of their masters' babies. And it just became, they weren't able to nourish their own babies. A lot of their children died because of that. Then there was another shift when we were kind of forced to be more in the workforce, and formula was being pushed very heavily as being the convenient way to feed our babies. And especially if you're a working woman, working outside of the home where you don't always have time, or it doesn't seem like you have enough time to breastfeed your babies. So formula became kind of like that easy way out. And I'm not saying it's an easy way out, because we want you to be able to feed your babies however it is necessary to feed your babies, but we also want to support those who want to breastfeed as well. So there was a big push by the pet company that they adopted these 4 sisters. They were quadruplets, called the Full Sisters. And if you don't know their story, it's a very interesting story. And they were Black, and they came from a very poor family, and they kind of became the face of pet milk and pet formula. So I think seeing their faces also kind of pushed that drive for more Black women, Black families to lean more towards formula feeding versus breastfeeding. Plus kind of like the sexual stigma attached to breastfeeding, with Black women being hypersexualized. And it's just a very nuanced question.
How do you know if breastfeeding is right for you or not right for you?
I mean, that is a very individual question. I'm always a proponent of just, give it a try if you can. I mean, and that's whether you try it for 1 week or you try it for 3 months. I mean, you tried, and, you, for those few days or however, you gave your baby the best of yourself. So you should be proud of it, and you shouldn't be ashamed if you do need to stop, because you are doing what's best for you and your child. I'm very big also on mental health as well. So, I recently had a client who had twins, and she was just going through it mentally. And I told her, I'm going to tell you the things you can do, but at the end of the day, you need to be okay. So if doing all of this is going to make you not okay, then you have the right to stop. And
you have the right to stop and not feel, because we do as moms feel like not only are we disappointed, but we feel guilty and ashamed. Something is wrong with me. I couldn't feed my baby. Like I heard you say earlier, all mammals were given the supplies to do this. Why couldn't I? Right? Can you talk to that mom that might have either tried or is trying and is having a really difficult time and is contemplating, is this the right path for her? And maybe feeling that guilt, that shame, all those things, that disappointment. Can you talk to that mom?
I mean, I really hope for that parent, that mom has a good support system, first of all, in play. And, I always want her to realize, her providing love and taking care of her baby, taking care of herself is the best thing she can do for her child. We got to take care of ourselves so we can pour into our children. So if you are breastfeeding and you realize, hey, this is not right for me, or I can't do this all the time, shift gears, but also try to use your resources. So if you're able to get a lactation consultant, we not only are at the hospitals and clinics, but we can come to you, so if you're able to get some professional help to maybe see if you've exhausted all of the avenues, first, if you can do that, try that. But if it's still not working for you, it's okay. You've given it the good old college try, but you got to be okay. You got to be okay for your baby.
So you bring up a really good point, because this is like having a lactation, like this is a very intimate space that you're supporting between a mom and a baby, or mom, baby, and a father, or mom, between mom and the parents, right? It's such an intimate space, and sometimes you have to be really vulnerable to what's happening with them, past trauma even. And I'm a therapist, so let's talk a little bit about moms who may have had previous sexual abuse and that may come up in their breastfeeding journey. How do you support them as a lactation consultant?
I haven't had it often, but just being in the hospital setting in particular, usually when I'm looking at the chart, there's something flagged that they might have had something like that occur. So I go in, and my goal is to be empathetic, but also I just want to just listen to what they want. So I don't go in there saying, this is what we're going to do. You got to get the baby on the breast. I just ask them, what are their goals? What do they want to achieve as far as providing milk for their baby? What do they want that to look like? And I just listen and I let them tell me. I'm a big proponent, and this is not just with my lactation patients, but with my physical therapy patients. I'm a very big proponent of reading the room. So when I go in there and I see mom looking stressed out, or dad or partner looking stressed out, there's maybe grandparents in there, babies crying, there's bottles and pump parts everywhere. I just want to go in there and kind of calm some of that chaos. And I want to kind of center the dyad, which is the dyad includes the nursing parent and the baby. And I want to center them and kind of focus on their needs at that point. And I've had parents tell me, I just want to pump, because they had an aversion to direct nursing. And I talked them through that and how that journey will look. And I want them to know this is what it's going to take to exclusively pump. And, we just kind of just go from there and just talk about their goals. a big thing. Like that is kind of the number one reason why people who want to breastfeed end up stopping their journey so early, because they don't have support. So really, if I can get someone else in their life involved in this journey with them that is going to support them, that is the best thing. Support. And really, I have a big heart for the work outside of the home mom, because I am a work outside of the home mom, and I had to go through this journey myself. So just being kind of like that sounding board and being available to answer any questions people might have, especially when it comes to going back to work, because every parent has anxiety about leaving their baby. And then when you're breastfeeding, that's a whole other thing, because you're worried about, okay, if the person that's watching them is going to feed them just how you want them to feed them.
It makes a difference. Like you can pump it, like if your baby, and you can go into more details because I am not an expert, but what I do know from my experience is that you can know that your baby takes 4 ounces every hour, every 2 hours or whatever, and you pump that amount, and the person can feed them more than they're supposed to get, and your baby's like not having milk. So how does that all work? Like how do you support? Like how does the partner, whoever's in the journey with them, learn what they need to learn, or what do they need to know in order to make it a successful journey?
I mean, I know from my personal experience, like my husband was very supportive as far as, when I learned the proper way to bottle feed my baby when I went back to work, to where she wasn't taking in too much volume. I basically taught everybody who I knew that was going to be taking care of her. This is how you feed her so she does not get overfed. Because
sometimes dads kind of feel like they're missing out on the experience. And so, like I said earlier, that especially my daughter's dad, he would give her the bottle, right? And I kind of feel like he kind of got to participate because he gave her the bottle. Are there other ways or strategies that you talk to with the dad to make sure they are integral in the journey?
I mean,
and not feel left out?
Oh, definitely. Like there's so many things you can do besides feed the baby. I mean, dads can get skin to skin too. Yes. I encourage them, lay that baby on your chest, get all those sweet cuddles. They can baby wear, they can wear the little harness and the little wraps to keep that baby close. They can do the nighttime baths, the reading. They can sit there with mom while she's breastfeeding. Don't have mom sitting up there by herself at night. Keep her company, give her some snacks. Y'all sit and watch Netflix, because a lot of times people don't know when you're nursing, the oxytocin release also makes you sleepy. Yeah. So sometimes there have been incidences where people will be holding their baby nursing and baby kind of might roll off down the floor. So you need somebody to be there to be like, hey, you're falling asleep, wake up, or let's go lay down, or let me take the baby for you, or something like that, because it's just a safety thing for mom and baby too.